Hey there, everybody. Before we get to the episode, I just wanted to mention, Andy, thank you so much for listening to the podcast, but we're trying to grow something here, and we really would love if you guys could listen, rate, and review the podcast. Tell your friends about it. Email us, defendyourmovie@gmail.com. Also, tweet at us, Defend Your Movie, on Twitter, and let us know matchups that you want, what you think of the podcast. Constructive criticism we'll even take, not
Absolutely.
bullshit, but we'll take constructive criticism. Get active online with the podcast.
Yeah,
Let
we're
us
really
know-
going to start pulling some battles that are fan thought.
Exactly. And we also, we have a whole plan for Patreon for extra content. So
Yes.
anything you guys want to see or hear us talk about,
We'll do some
or
mini
what
battles.
sections that you liked that you want us to bring back. We had a couple games from episodes a while ago. We had the movie association. We had a bunch of other stuff. So let us know what you think. We want to be involved with the fans, and we want you guys to be involved as much as you'd like to be. So thank you so much, and enjoy the episode.
In a world full of movie podcasts, here is one more. Welcome to Defend Your Movie with Sean Donnelly.
The time has come again. The champion must stand. It can only be one of us. Victoria! So stand up and fight, my friend. There's a title you must defend. Shut it on and on. Bring it to me. Defend your movie.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Defend Your Movie. I am one of your hosts, Sean Donnelly, here with my co-host, Andy Fiore, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Good to be back. Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year, my friend.
I missed you.
I missed you, too. You have an injury? You want to talk
Yeah.
about your injury?
Well, I had a nice holiday, nice Christmas at home with the folks and the sisters, and very relaxing. Took some time off
And by
radio.
sisters, you mean a bunch of black women, not your actual sisters.
Yeah, big, brassy mm-hms. A lot of mm-hms in the Fury household Christmas.
But you were like laid out.
I injured my back as literally the day I went back to my day job is, as you know, I work in Sirius XM radio.
That's
and
correct.
Comedy, and I took a extended vacation over the holiday break. Feeling good, well rested, get back to work literally a week ago, and sat down, got up about a half hour later and just went, ooh, that's a weird feeling in the old back muscle.
So, and no history whatsoever.
None. No back
crazy.
injuries prior to this, and the day just got progressively worse. And by that night, I texted you guys, we were supposed to record live that day. I said, dude, I can't even move.
Yeah.
I made it downstairs of my building. I had to take a cab back to Queens. I could manage the subway, and got a heating pad and ended up going to the orthopedist. Long story short, I got to take some anti-inflammatory pills, and I got some physical therapy ahead of me. But
is there a chance? Because here's the thing, my experience, because I had a back issue for a while.
yeah.
And for some reason, it's fine now. I think I'm like.
That's what I'm hoping
I think
for.
I think it's a weight thing, and if I go over a certain weight,
Yeah.
that's when it pushes on it. But I know I can trace it back to an actual instance. Maybe it's something from years ago coming back to haunt you.
Maybe, and yeah, the fat thing has something to do with
But
it
you're
too.
not. You're just a big guy.
Well,
You're not like-
but I am overweight. I am
so am
at an unhealthy amount of extra pounds, which my Asian doctor bluntly said to me.
Yeah.
He just had that Asian directness. Where
Yeah,
he was like,
yeah.
He was like, "You fat."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, bedside manner."
It's like Jessica Kirsan's joke, where she's just like,
Oh, really?
Just matter of fact, they just tell you.
Yeah, but that's good for me. Like, I need to hear it like that. You know
Of
what I mean?
course.
So it'll start my ass. And yeah, I got physical therapy, and I should start going to the gym, because he was like, "That's not helping. It's putting pressure on your lower disc, your back. What's hurting?" So it's nothing too serious, but yeah, a month of physical therapy. I got some anti-inflams.
Yeah.
And every day I'm feeling a little better, but I still got some issues.
Because I didn't have it. Like yours seems
right
so
now.
much more. It hurts right now.
Yeah, it's
yours
just like
seems
a
so
little-
much more extreme than what I had. Like I had it where if I was turning a certain way, it would hurt. But I know where
Right.
it came from. I don't know if I ever told this story on the podcast before. One of my old day jobs that I had was at an office on 45th and Lex. I had to. I'll tell you the quick version. I had to go to something one morning and it made me late for work, and I just had gotten the job, and I was freaking out,
yeah.
and it was pouring rain. It was like every worse condition.
Right.
And sure enough, I take a cab back. I book it out of there on the marble ground in front of the building, not thinking, and I literally lose my footing. Probably get about 3 feet of air, just like a cartoon.
God, yeah.
Just like a cartoon.
Yep.
Right in the
I
air.
can picture it.
Slammed right on the small of my back. Now, I'm glad that I didn't hit my head. If I hit my head, I would have been dead.
Yeah.
That's how hard it was.
Yeah.
I just thud right on my back. Right on, like, probably exactly the worst spot. Yeah, exactly. And I had that moment where I was just lying there, and I had a lady, a girl, look at me and go, and not even say anything, just stare at me.
You downgraded her.
Yeah, young.
Went from a lady to a girl.
She was younger. Yeah, she was younger. She was like a woman, but she was like probably early 20s.
She was female.
Yeah, and she just looked at me, and it was like there was so much pain at that point. I had no rationality, so I just looked at her and go, "What the fuck you looking at?" Because you're like, if you're gonna ask me if I'm all right, but like, what are you staring at me for? Like, I just felt like, you're not saying like, oh my god, are you okay? Or, oh, hey, that must have hurt, or anything. Say something. Like, don't just look at me. She was staring at me.
Oh man,
and I'll never forget it because I'm like, oh, that was harsh how I came off. But so what happened was I did that. It hurt for like a day and a half, and then I was fine because I was younger. And then, like, years later, I gained a bunch of weight, and then out of nowhere, right in that spot, I was getting, like, bad pain.
Yeah. The funny thing, too, is I lost, like, 6 or 7 pounds over the break, and I was kind of feeling good about myself.
Yeah.
And then this happened, and the doctor was like, no, you're fat.
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
It gets harder and
harder.
All right,
Doctor, no feelings.
Yeah. I'm a doctor, freaking vampire doctor that doesn't care about me. It gets harder and harder to, like... Because even me, I cut back on stuff. You wouldn't know it from the table here, but like I cut back on like soda and like if I have a soda, I'll have a sip or like. And then I was doing really, really good for a while, and then I should have lost. If I was younger, I would have lost more weight faster.
Yeah, it's harder.
And now I'm realizing like, I get to a plateau and then that's it.
Yeah, it's very hard, and that's the other dose of reality that I have. It's like I'm 5 months off of 40, and I'm just like, oh no, is this going to be just life now?
I'm at 40, and I think it almost really does. It's like clockwork. You hit it, and then
really.
It's like, I couldn't even
hit it.
It's a whole new. It's a whole new ball. It's a whole new game.
I know.
It's a whole new
back nine,
figuring out the chemistry. The back nine. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so
it did give me some downtime to.
You did. You watched a bunch of stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, I watched a bunch of stuff over the holiday break.
Anything that popped up that you want to talk about?
I think the big one. I did watch Bird Box.
I haven't watched it yet because I don't think I'm a Sandra Bullock fan. I think that's what it comes down to. I'm really not.
I enjoy her.
Overrated a little bit, but how was Bird Box? Because it's becoming viral. People are saying it's The Happening, but for eyes.
Okay, here's the thing.
Wait. Is that girl from the net on the bus? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes!
Sorry.
Alex with the Seinfeld reference.
Alex with the Seinfeld reference this week. It's with the girl with the net on the bus.
It is a blatant ripoff of A Quiet Place and The Happening. It is those two movies combined, and it's kind of ridiculous how blatant it is.
So the plot is what? Because I can't understand it from the
plot is that there is a catastrophic thing in the air that is seen by certain people that it makes you kill yourself if you see it and if you ingest it, which is
that's the happening.
It's the happening. And then the kind of subplot is people cover their eyes to battle so you can't see it, and they find their way. It can't come indoors. So that's basically the same thing of A Quiet Place, where it's just like, if you make a sound, that's how the creatures in A Quiet Place find you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just have to be pitched, perfectly quiet. It is literally a combination of the two, and I don't understand how it's just such a blatant ripoff. That being said, it's not horrible. I kind of enjoyed it.
I've seen clips of it. Somebody posted a clip online.
Maybe I was in a fucking medicated
a drugged loop. Yeah. A loopiness.
That literally was day one. I was just like in pain. I was just like, let me just watch it laying on my hardwood floor.
Just keeping your mind on your
apartment.
back. Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it is, and A Quiet Place I loved. I thought it was a really cool style and technique and original idea and well acted. And this is just such a fucking
Yeah, you
rip-off.
wonder why, after all the critical acclaim of Quiet Place, that's what they do in Hollywood. They just go,
Yeah.
all right, here's a bunch of
Let's
stuff like
change it a little
this.
bit.
It's like Switcheroo movie.
I mean, and The Happening's a piece of garbage, too.
The Happening is one of the, it's comic, you know how there's bad and there's comically bad?
Yeah. It's just
comically
like,
bad. It has one of the best Mark Wahlberg bad acting moments ever, which
God.
I've mentioned before in the podcast, where the old lady, she's not even affected by whatever the environmental thing is. She just comes in and she just, they stay at some old lady's farmhouse, him and the family.
Yeah,
They're trying to escape the thing from outside. And there's a great line where in the middle of the night, he's up and then he sees the old woman and she's just like crazy, senile. And she goes, "You're stealing all my stuff." And there's a moment where Mark Wahlberg looks at her and goes, "What? No." It might be the best. It's like
best,
you.
yeah.
It's like how if you had to judge Mark Wahlberg on that one little piece, you'd be like, how are you even in show business?
Right.
Based off that.
So it is literally the exact same thing. Where it's something that you see instead of whatever it was in The Happening. I think it was something in the wind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it's,
at least,
it's something.
like-
But you can't. Not everybody can see it, and some people are weirdly immune to it. Like mental patients are kind of immune to it. There's like all these plot holes where you're just like, holy shit, this is so unoriginal and such a combination of these two movies.
At least The Happening had it like, hey, it's the Earth fighting back to get rid of its aggressors.
Right.
Like, at least that kind of made sense.
Not to ruin it, there is no explanation of where this comes from or how it's going to ever be resolved. They kind of just find
So it's not invisible.
sanctuary.
Some people can see it.
It's an invisible thing, but it's kind of you never see it. It's just kind of like you kind of start going like it gets in your eyes, and then you start just kind of going weird, and then you somehow kill yourself. It's pretty unoriginal.
Now let me ask you this though: it's unoriginal. I mean, we know The Happening's bad. So is it? It's made. The script is better than the Happening. Made better. It's made better than The Happening.
It's way better acted.
Better acted than The Happening.
Yeah.
But the whole time you're thinking, this is The Happening.
And then the whole, literally the first part of it, I'm going, this is a fucking Quiet Place. What the fuck?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's really.
Talk about
But
that.
I mean, like I said, if you're laid up in an immense amount of pain, you'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah. If you're on heavy doses of Tylenol extra strength,
I mean, yeah. And it was fine. It was free on Netflix. It wasn't something I went out and saw.
you were on so many drugs, you started to see the thing from the movie.
Yeah, I had bird box eyes. I just had.
You're like, Sandra,
Dude, the amount of pain I was in, I was ready to fucking throw myself out the window. Holy smokes.
that bad, huh?
I have a few more because I was.
Yeah, go
laid
for
out.
it. Yeah.
I'll go back and start when I was home for Christmas. I watched 8th Grade.
I wanted to
our
see
buddy,
that.
Bo Burnham's.
Our buddy. Are you buddies with
Any
him?
comic is a buddy.
Oh,
to
that's
me.
a buddy of the show. Yeah.
No, I met him once.
I've
Very
never met him.
sweet kid.
I heard
kid.
nice guy. I'll tell you one thing about Bo Burnham is that his special, I did not think I was going to like it, and it's
I
fantastic.
hear that a lot. Yeah, I hear that a
It's
lot.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's from like 5 years ago.
I didn't love it.
You didn't like 8th Grade?
I didn't love it.
Oh, it got like critically acclaimed.
I know.
Really?
Yeah, I think this one is. I can see why it would be appreciated by a certain audience. To me, I got
It just wasn't
I got
your
too angry
experience?
over it.
Why'd
was
you get
just-
angry over it?
like the way, and I guess this is just me being older, but I just hated the way all the kids fucking talked to each other. It's a good social commentary. I'll give it that, of how technology and phones are just rampant, and that's the only thing that matters. And if you're like a 14-year-old person, I think in this day and in 2019, where it's just like I'm attached to my phone, social media is so important. What other people think. Everybody thinks they're a star. Everybody's got their own blog, video blog, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was very good, the way they did that. Other than that, it was just kind of aimless, I thought. It's just kind of a course of this one girl's not very popular year in her life. And then it just kind of wraps up. I don't know. It just wasn't really...
Now, I don't know if we talked about this yet. We might have done it before the holiday. Now, you're reminding me, as you're saying this, of Lady Bird. And I saw Lady Bird. Did we talk about Lady Bird?
Yeah, we did. You loved it.
I loved it.
And I liked it, but I didn't love it. But Lady Bird is much...
This sounds like a shittier Lady Bird.
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay.
I like Lady Bird a lot more.
Really?
Yeah. This one, it just kind of wandered. It's one of those day of the life kind of films where you're just kind of like,
is it a
starts and
day or
ends.
is it a year?
No, I'm just using that. As
yeah, right. That's kind of how Lady Bird is too.
Glimpse of life, slice
Lady
of life.
Bird is like that. It's fast forwarded.
Right.
Yeah, but I think the script of Lady Bird, I really love Lady Bird.
Yeah,
like I don't think it's in my top 10, but I think that it really impressed me.
And this could just be me being like not getting it, but I don't. I appreciate the job like a young actress does. She was great in it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just like, okay, that's
so
fine.
Did you find yourself bored while watching it?
Yeah, bored.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a matter of not your experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe like...
It did bring up like those weird... It really nails that
the weird anxiety you feel at that age. Okay.
Because, not to the extent, but you had... those feelings surface again where you're like, oh, God, I remember that. That was torture. That anxiety between, like, boy-girl relation, that, like, newish kind of thing when you're not quite high school. Yeah, it got that. It did that very well, so I'll give it that. But other than that, like, bored a little bit. So.
Yeah, I probably would be the same way.
Me.
Yeah. What else you got there?
You Were Never Really Here. Joaquin Phoenix. Kind of a Taken kind of plot.
I wanted to see this, but... nothing was said about it, and I purposely didn't watch it because I'm assuming that it's bad.
You could skip it.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's not. Again, it kind of lost me where I was just like, oh, okay.
Such a cool idea, badass trailer,
right?
Badass,
and
trailer.
I like Joaquin.
So Joaquin Phoenix is unbelievable.
Joaquin, that's what I knew I was saying it wrong. And yeah, he does that kind of. It's a very Taken plot where it's this girl, a man of high power, his daughter is kidnapped and forced to go into sexual slavery as like a 13-year-old. Like this is like bad, like bad people, and there's a lot of conspiracy. The cops are involved.
It could have been such a good revenge movie.
Yeah, and it just kind of didn't live up to what it could have been. Will be my succinct review.
Yeah, because you can kind of tell. It's funny, you watch movies long enough. And if you don't hear anybody saying something about it, or you don't see it mentioned on any TV shows or anything, you're kind of like, oh, it's maybe not worth watching.
And that's what I did. I was just at home at my parents' house. I ordered on demand, and there was nothing else on. So I did a little research. I was just like kind of reading reviews without trying to learn too much. And it was just like, just nothing really stood out review-wise. Nobody really went to bat for it.
No, not at all.
But I was just for lack of nothing else to watch, I put it on.
Yeah.
And it was fine, I guess. But I wouldn't really say go out of your way to watch it if there's nothing else. If you really need something. And then I just have one more, which was BlacKkKlansman, and I'll be honest, I couldn't even get through it.
What? Wow, so you had a bunch of stuff.
Did you love that, Alex? Did you love BlacKkKlansman? I couldn't even watch it, dude.
Saint Germain loved it.
I couldn't even get through it.
Really?
Yeah.
Why, because you're racist?
Yeah, it probably a little bit had to do with it.
Wait, so, do you have reasoning for it?
It was just so Spike Lee over the top. I was just like, come on, dude. You know what I mean? It was just...
What do you mean? Like,
it was... obviously super racial, but they really it's from his perspective, I guess, and it's one of those where I'm like, are you holding true to the story, or are you really contorting things for the sake of the movie?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I just to a point I was just like, to be fair, thought I was going to come back to it. I again ordered it at home. I was like, I'm just fucking sick of it so far. I'll finish it later. I never came back to it.
Really?
Yeah, so therefore I shouldn't really review it because I didn't finish it, but that was my initial reaction.
Wow.
I never got back to it, so because I just didn't care.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So nothing really.
Yeah, nothing
great.
that you got psyched on.
Bird Box was probably the most enjoyable one for me. That says a lot, I guess.
I'm trying to think of what I watched. I think I just watched a bunch of... I should have noted what I watched. But one of the things that I was surprised about was while we were gone, the Golden Globes happened.
Yes.
And Best Picture was Green Book.
Which I've yet to see, which I want to.
Which you didn't see. I saw, and I'm really like... It's one of those things where you realize how much like the business part of Hollywood is involved in things, because like... I think I mentioned this when I brought it up the first time on the podcast.
It's
not. It's. it's like a slightly heavier Remember the Titans. You know how how cookie cutter and how kind of tame Remember the Titans is.
Yeah.
Like it has a good message, but it's kind of there's no real heaviness in it.
Right.
Green Book has a little bit more heaviness. They do it with a little bit more restraint. Like there's
and it's Peter Farrelly.
It's Peter Farrelly. So it's kind of what you would expect if Peter Farrelly. It's not because it's such a departure from Dumb
I
and
was gonna say
Dumber.
it's not what I would expect.
No, it's not. But you're not gonna. A guy who does Dumb and Dumber, he's not gonna get to some heavy drama.
That's what I thought you were going with the industry thing. Where it was like,
what do you mean? Oh, about that's why.
Yeah,
I think that probably had something to do. Okay. I'm actually no, because those guys are like kind of just like filmmakers and whatever.
That's true. I guess they could probably write. Yeah,
but I think if I had to guess, the reason though I was nominated is because of I can never say his name right. Mahershala Ali.
Yeah,
he's great. He's
yeah.
fantastic. That guy, and he's so hot right now from the Moonlight. Even
going to be in the new True Detective.
Yeah, which I want to check out. Which comes out like a couple weeks. But I think there's like business thing. Like, and this is just like it's such an obvious statement, but like I think there's Hollywood things of why that was. I think the racial component of and then what's going on now, and the idea of trying to repair that is a good effort. It's a good effort. I'm just saying that. And there's a couple of scenes where you're like, oh, that's something you don't see in these movies sometimes. That's kind of heavy for a Farrelly brother. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're like, whatever. But overall, like, it could have gotten really, really dark if it wanted to.
Yeah,
because
sure.
I didn't know the basis of the movie was the Green Book was this book that a black guy wrote for other black people to know which hotels they could stay in without being persecuted. I never knew that was a thing, obviously.
Yeah,
you know? So that was like the and they did address like him trying to go to another hotel and like how shitty he was treated. It is really good, but some of it is I don't want to say one note. I don't know the phrase I would use. Some of it's very like cookie cutter is the phrase I'm using. Like some of it's like remember the Titans, remember like I think of Remember the Titans as like PG-13, like racial harmony fun. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not getting into the hardcore parts of it. And the moments from the trailer are the most dramatic moments in the thing. You know,
I'm still gonna watch it. I'm still gonna check it out.
Still check it out. It's worth watching, but you're not gonna be like, wow, that blew me away.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? But
best picture, huh?
But best picture.
Do we know what the other nominees were?
No, I don't have them offhand.
Alex Q. Yeah, Golden Globes. Because they're usually a good forecaster for what the Oscars.
And then Rami Malek won for...
Rami Malek, I saw that.
Which I guess just because...
Somebody wrote he always looks like he's chewing crackers. Which made me laugh so hard.
Who, Rami Malek?
Yeah,
as the character or just in general?
Just in general.
He always looks like he's thinking of 10 other things when people are talking to him. He's like a space cadet.
I got out of Mr. Robot. It got so crazy. I
got out of it too.
I was just I don't think I'm smart enough for this.
Well, after the second season of Mr. Robot, you're like, Fight Club.
Yeah.
It's Fight Club. That's another thing. Let's just realize that. Everything's ripped off from everything.
Ripped off now.
Alex.
All right, so there's two categories in the drama, musical, or comedy. So for drama, it's Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Black Panther, Black Klansman, If Beale Street Could Talk, and A Star Is Born. And then for musical or comedy, I don't know how Green Book is a comedy. I haven't seen it yet, but that's in there.
Yeah, those are always very loose.
It's yeah. I can see it. I can see it. Yeah, it is kind of like a comedy.
And then also
that's why when the Farrelly thing wasn't that much of a it was like he pulled back from
Farrelly. You just Italianized that.
What did I say? Was it Farrelly? I think it's Farrelly.
No, Peter Farrelly. You went Farrelly.
I'm from Long Island. But
so Green Book and Bohemian Rhapsody were the winners, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have
which from what I've heard
Bohemian
Rhapsody. I heard.
Granted, I didn't love all the other ones or see them, but
Black Panther was great. Black Panther, it's like out of those.
I mean, you could lock that up for the most popular, maiden most popular film Oscar. I mean, it was fucking that award was created for Black Panther.
Yeah. But yeah, because they're gonna have 5 other nominees that are gonna be from the drama. It's gonna be like night and day.
Lock it up right here and right now.
that was
Black
the
Panther is
popular.
going to win the most popular
yeah.
film that's not Best Picture. You know, they created that new category.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
But they're doing. You know why they're doing that? Because they want people to watch the Oscars.
I get it. But
Nobody watches them
it
anymore.
waters down the validity of the Oscars. It's not every cool thing has to win.
I know.
You know?
I agree. I think you're right. I think when it comes to
Popular doesn't equal good.
Hollywood,
sometimes.
Hollywood can be different from filmmaking sometimes. There's an art to filmmaking.
100%.
There's a history. It's like comedy. It's like what's going on with comedy right now, and it's like what's going on with, like the Eminem versus the mumble rappers guys, like where Eminem goes out and like really just destroys these guys, being like, you're not paying attention to what happened before you, and everything in the history of the world has been done that way. Like there's an art to hip hop. There's an art to being a lyricist in hip hop.
Yeah,
and those mumble rapper guys are just like, you really are just
It's
mumbling.
repetitive.
And it's not old 40-year-old white dude saying that. It's like one of the hailed greatest rappers
Right.
of all time being like, yeah, there's no effort to that.
No,
and I
it's
think
garbage.
there's kind of a comedy
Stop
thing.
buying it and listening to it, people.
Yeah, it's really, and even though there's a couple songs that I'm like, that's pretty good, but
I mean, some of it's like fun to like bop your head to and stuff, but you're just like,
I
yeah,
gravitate towards the stuff that's like actually good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally a mid '90s, hip hop guy, which I think is
but
the
even
best.
some of the new stuff, like even the Kendrick Lamar or
Sure.
even Drake is good, and there's the guy that's on Eminem's album that's on that song. This guy Joyner Lucas, that's amazing, lyrically amazing. But he's out at the same time as these other guys, and it's like you know how much harder it is for this guy to do that than for them to do what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just shitty. But when you kind of shit on new music, you sound like an old fart.
I know.
You're kind of like, hey,
I know.
in my day, rap was. It's funny that like rap got to an old guy point. It's like my rap, not my rap. That's not my. I love.
We actually rhymed things,
I remember the Wu-Tang Clan.
but it does annoy me when it's just. I've heard so much words rhymed with the same word, where you're like, dude, come on.
I know. It's so annoying. All right, let's get to the meat and potatoes part of the podcast.
Meat and potatoes.
So this week, what we decided to do, we kind of had a text chain going back and forth for a while, deciding what would be the best
Batted
matchup.
a few ideas around.
And what we decided, and it kind of fits into my interests these days.
That's true, very much so.
It does. And we've talked about these movies before on the podcast, but never matched them up. And we're going to do Independence Day versus Cloverfield.
Yes.
I will be taking Cloverfield. And it's funny because when we talked, full disclosure, Independence Day is a classic. Like I think my first inclination would be to say, oh, I would go for Independence Day.
Huh.
But the more I think about it, I'm like, no, it wouldn't.
Really?
So we want to address we want to do two things in the next part of the podcast. One is, Alex brought up a great point. One of them is, which one is a better movie in that genre, that alien invasion genre?
Yes.
And now, the more I think about it, Cloverfield, I really do believe is better. And I'll explain why. But the other thing we want to do is, which one's a more believable scenario? But it gets complicated with Cloverfield because, for a reason we'll talk
Okay,
about.
all right.
Yeah. So, but first off, you took Independence Day.
I did. I love Independence Day.
That's like, you want to talk about like.
I think Independence Day kicked off like a new era of Hollywood blockbuster in terms of the way they were made, big budget. It was 96.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, special, like people were spending money on effects again, and we had like super crazy budget, but it got a return, so it was, it was worthwhile. But I think that led into a new era where, like, after that, you started to see movies being made in that same kind of like Armageddon, Deep Impact, and stuff like, so I think that kickstarted that
also,
new
I think,
Michael Bay-ish kind of era.
I think CGI was coming into its own.
CGI was kind of coming into its realm in the late 90s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a big cast with a nice ensemble.
Well, I'll tell you, my first counterpoint in response to what you just said is, one of the things is, because of that, because it was 96, now what you fall victim to, and we're arguing this now, that's why, is the aged effects. CGI was coming into its own. It wasn't fully there yet.
Right.
So you still had it wasn't as.
I'll give you that.
It wasn't as as elementary as Plan 9 from Outer Space or like.
That is true.
Looking at it now with what you've seen in the 20 Jesus Christ 23 years. 23
I
years
will
since
relent
then.
this point too. There are movies where, like, say a 2001, for example, is a great science fiction movie, but doesn't seem dated because Kubrick had the foresight enough to not almost limit the technology. So it doesn't become a thing where you go, yeah, we could have solved that with a cell phone now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I give you that point where,
Absolutely.
like, Independence Day, it ends with, like, a computer virus. Where it's just like, okay, I guess that is not an idea that we could still maybe battle aliens like that. Like, with the technology we have today, that still could be a viable option for defeating something, is infect their technology somehow. But the way it's shown is now dated.
But the way it's shown is now dated.
Yeah.
And you're right. 2001, they re-released it, one of those Fathom event things. And if you watch it, you're like, oh, this could have been made.
Yeah, it's that
now.
Which is like, well, that's the brilliance of 69. It was, and you're just like.
And the way that was done was make everything. There's you could say it's set design, you could say whatever it is. I think it's Kubrick making something so the simplicity of it adds to the complexity of it.
Yeah, because I'm sure at the time people were like, talking computer that can run everything? Come on,
Yeah, but
where
now
you're
like,
hey Alexa,
that's on our phone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so, it was like he was looking into the future with that movie, and everything was so much more stylized. So that's even more to the point of, but...
Boy, I'm already digging a hole for myself.
Yeah, but you're right, though. Like, but as far as what we're saying where they can just dream up stuff out of thin air, where the CGI is so good. Gladiator was also another turning point with that, where they, like, with the tiger scenes, where they were making it look like they were next to things way, way better than back in the day. So, you're right. Well, I'll give you that, where it's like, in 96, they were making, like, Kubrick couldn't have made a popcorn blockbuster movie. He didn't. He made an art house, holds up for years and years, but still is for a certain audience type of movie. Independence Day is for anybody. Independence Day, and It's also like, you're like you were impressed by what they did.
And I'll give that Cloverfield is not for everybody. I don't think it is.
Well, I think, here's the thing, man. I think it kind of harkens back to your first point. Cloverfield, what you're saying happened in 96 with CGI. Cloverfield was kind of a 20-year...
2008, I think.
2008, so whatever amount of years.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so reaction to that. So after a while, you have enough of that, like all the Armageddon, the Deep Impacts, the Independence Day. They start to become the parody, and then Cloverfield starts to become...
J.J. Abrams?
He produced it, and Matt Reeves directed it.
Okay.
So what happens with... Well, here's the thing, man. But you had Blair Witch before Cloverfield. It was a better version of that. It was a better.
Cloverfield is shaky though. It's really hard to watch in repeated viewings. I'll give you this. I was very excited for Cloverfield. That was a really cool trailer.
Super cool.
When it was just like
also, but
it was the suspense, and if you remember, it was just kind of the noise, which you're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And then the Statue of Liberty's head just comes rolling down Broadway, and you're like, oh. And I had read an interview at the time that J.J. Abrams was like, the alien is like nothing you've ever seen. And I was so excited, and then you're like, yeah, I think I've seen something like that. I was so hyped for Cloverfield. I really was.
Well, I think, they have to hype things up, whatever
I guess, but don't give me one of those and then just kind of have a cookie cutter, almost Godzilla-ish.
Well, that's my love-hate relationship with J.J. Abrams, because he's also the creator of Lost.
I mean, it's Godzilla.
And that's the J.J. Abrams school of talk this thing up, and then we'll figure it out later.
I never put that together before. It's like...
Because Carlin Cuse and Damon Lindelof did that with Lost. They go,
absolutely.
They go, we know what the last shot is.
You go, and you better, because I've invested a lot of fucking emotion into this show.
They had no clue.
And you clearly didn't.
They had no clue. But what happened was, so here's the thing, man. It kind of goes hand in hand, and the more we talk about this, the more these movies are related. Or, you could fit in other ones as well, but this actually makes more sense than we maybe thought initially, because if you have the what is it? Rennie Harlan, who did Roland Emmerich?
Roland Emmerich
did Independence Day. So when you have that, he's giving you all the information. He's giving you every different part of an alien invasion. He's giving you, and then what happens was, as a reaction to 15, let's say 15 years of that, with every different which way of, hey, here comes an asteroid, and here's every different country reacting to it.
Yeah.
Here's Armageddon, where the people in Egypt and the people in New York City have the same
recently
experience.
Arrival.
What happened was there was a conscious decision in the filmmaking of Cloverfield to turn around and be like, no, we're only going to give you limited information now, and you're going to be, the suspense is going to be built from, oh my God, I want more, even from the trailer up until the actual movie, because also such a great idea, which I don't want to get into this now, but for a universe, because it's endless. I thought where they were going to go with Cloverfield was so much different than what they did eventually.
I don't know if I saw
the other ones.
Follow-ups.
Amazing sequel. We can talk about that
really?
in a second. Well, it's not even a sequel, but it's in the universe.
Because I did not watch
10
Independence Day
Cloverfield
2.
Lane.
And I don't,
What?
I didn't see Independence Day 2, which recently came out.
I didn't see either because I heard how much garbage it was. That's another thing. Better sequel on.
All right,
Cloverfield.
I can't speak to the sequel.
Yeah, but my point being, because of what was going on with that stuff, I'm not saying it's the only reason that these movies were made, but what I'm saying is they turn around and they go, well, we're only going to give you little bits and pieces, or we're only going to give you through this guy's eyes, because it's also a better, to me, it's a better method of movie making. It's almost more Hitchcockian than you realize.
Very much so.
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're making them fill in everything you're filling in the blanks.
It couldn't be more complete opposites in terms of
style.
the way of stylistically.
Yeah.
But I like Independence Day and how I enjoy once we've figured this out as a worldwide. I like the camaraderie of, hey, we got to figure this thing out, or we as a world, as Earth, we're fucked. So we all got to get together. I like that. Like, I like that in Arrival, how they all kind of work together. You know what I mean? I enjoy the countries that would normally be working against each other. That makes me feel good inside. I like that teamwork.
You like
it's like,
humanity
hey,
together.
Like Israel and Palestine, or fighting aliens together.
It's
you know
like
what I mean?
Ghostbusters too. They're the same thing.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
it
makes me feel good inside. Like,
they all
there is
team up,
hope for humanity.
and they sing on New Year's or whatever it was.
Exactly.
With Vigo, you know?
Yeah.
I liked that warm, fuzzy feeling stuff too. I enjoy that. And Cloverfield does not have that.
No.
Like, let's be honest.
That's a New York movie.
A point, like, even though I love the warm, fuzzy stuff, a point for Cloverfield, like, and if you haven't seen Cloverfield at this point, here comes.
Come on.
One thing that's never mentioned about it, or I haven't seen in a while mentioned about it, is really dark ending. Like, dark ending. Like, just sad ending.
Which
like,
I like.
I like when it happens too, but it's funny because it was a big movie coming out, you know, J.J. Abrams producing and all that kind of stuff, and to have that kind of ending on a movie like that is
I'll give you that, but here's my issue with Cloverfield, where it's like they were really hoping that it stood on its own legs because of the way it was done. It's a Godzilla movie. Let's be honest. I mean, that's the plot of every fucking Godzilla movie. Big alien monster comes in, destroys a city, kills its citizens. That's Godzilla to the core. And then it's kind of, what do we do? It follows, the way then it follows the group and the way it's shot. I think it was really the hope of then, like you said, that's a J.J. Abrams maybe flaw, is that this could stand on its own legs because of the way we're doing it. Not so much story. You know what I mean?
I'm going to hurt myself here by saying this, because it kind of makes sense. So you're going to say it's more marketing than movie.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I was so hyped up on the trailer, and it could never have lived up. Because at the end, I was just like, yeah, all right, okay. And then you start to, once you've seen the movie, the only thing left is to nitpick the negatives out of you. You go, it was kind of fucking shaky the whole time. And that was a huge complaint. People were like, I couldn't fucking watch it.
That did happen.
And not so much for me.
For me, it kind of happened. To be honest, at first viewing, I was like, oh, this is shaky. Then I've seen it since then, and I have no issues with it.
Yeah, that was never a huge issue for me, but you do notice it.
You do notice it. I will tell you, the way it's different from you're right. The way that it was told was kind of like the sales point for that movie.
Right.
But what they did was, they kind of didn't just say, oh, this is happening. They did give you the Easter egg factor of the movie, kind of helps it along as well. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, I think bringing you into the universe of like how, because at the end they have that thing where people, you know, like you're right. There was a lot of marketing, but it kind of achieved its goal because
It did.
You might be right. It's not as good of a movie as it is an idea and what surrounded it, but that still was pulled off because they made other ones, and the story surrounding it, the marketing didn't stop being interesting once it came out.
Right. No,
So it wasn't like, hey,
I just had bigger hope. I thought it was going to be a lot scarier. It's really not scary at all.
I don't know, man. There's a bunch of crazy. There's a bunch of scenes in that movie.
Yeah, there's a
that
few good
freak me the
jumps.
fuck
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And also that gross you the fuck out. Like when that girl, she gets bit and she goes behind the curtain.
Oh, yeah.
And she just explodes.
Totally.
Like that's creepy, really creepy. And then when they're in the subway tunnel and the little
Yes.
aliens come, that's a really creepy scene.
Yeah, no, I just thought it could have been scarier. I will give you those.
And also, you know, you want to talk about like tapping into people's actual real life fears. There's a scene in the store when the thing's going by and all the dust is coming by that's based off of footage from 9/11.
Yeah.
So yeah, that might have been like
It had that
it
aspect
might have
to
been
it.
like
It had that aspect to
stereotypically movie scary, but
No,
when you
that
find
did
that
have
fact
real
out,
life.
even if you find it after you see the movie, you're like, oh, that makes it way more realistic.
It was only 6 years off 9/11. It did have that trauma still. Where that was effective at the time. If you watch that
Absolutely.
now, you're not going to feel the same way.
No.
but at the time, I'll give you that. Where you were like, "Oh man,
Because you
that is
remember
still
the
so
news
fresh
footage.
in my mind."
Yeah.
100%. But I know it's such an easy target too. But it's like, and I know it's a movie, and we suspend reality. But it's just going. How many times are you watching the movie and you just go, "Oh, put down the fucking camera, dude"? You know, it's just that one major flaw where you go, "Come on, man, help! Put the fucking camera down."
Yeah. I know. But
I get like it's almost too much of a layup of a point to make, but
it's one of those things where it goes, well, that
that
the
you
only
do
answer
really
is-
have to suspend. But that's
You
fine.
suspend disbelief. That's
know.
what happens. You have to turn around and go, it's a movie. For that
Exactly.
one. But I will tell you, I think that the love story in that one is
Yeah,
more
the
believable.
flashbacks were a good technique.
I think that was cool.
Yeah.
Even at the end showing, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the end is
I-
way heavier than the beginning.
I like that ending. I like a dark ending. I like how things are not always wrapped up neatly.
Yeah.
Which is, again, the opposite of Independence Day. But, again, that makes you want a triumphant victory over your opponents, in this case, aliens. So maybe that could be our next jumping off point, which we said before, was what is a more believable alien invasion? Is it a Cloverfield-type monster, or is it UFO wielding invaders?
Well, here's the problem that we have now with that, because I don't want to ruin, you're not going to watch any of the other ones, Cloverfield wise, are you?
Probably not.
Okay. Independence Day, I think both movies, that whole universe, because you got to go universe to universe.
Yeah.
The first one's a straight up invasion, and the other one is them regrouping and coming back.
Right.
Yeah, right. So Cloverfield, this is one of the things where it loses it, because they've nailed it. 10 Cloverfield Lane.
I did see 10. Oh, I love 10 Cloverfield.
It's great. It's great. And what they
forget that's kind of
what
in
they
that.
started doing was taking existing movies and slapping a couple of Cloverfield scenes on it, and that becoming the movie. But
Did I miss something in between Cloverfield and 10 Cloverfield
No,
Lane
after-
where that connects everything?
No,
Because 10 Cloverfield Lane kind of stands on its own. It's just kind of got that Cloverfield title in there.
No, and then it doesn't, because at the end.
I know at the end, but that's what I'm asking. Is there a connector between the first one and then the...
Yes, there is,
Okay.
and it's explained in the third.
Okay, that's
So,
what I heard.
and the third takes place in space, and there's a project they're doing as far as like I forget what I'm not going to use the technical terms, but they cause a split in the time space continuum.
Okay.
And then what it does is it releases it releases pandemonium to any different timeline.
Okay.
So that's why you had the monster
The
from
old Bird Box effect.
Yeah. And to be honest, I thought it was going to be, because they keep making mention of a Japanese company in the Cloverfield movies, I thought it was going to be like, something was under wraps and then it got loose and then they're related, or even if it was a time space thing, a better explanation for it. So basically all they were saying is that whatever rip was caused by this ship in the future,
Yeah.
in multiple timelines, caused these beings from other timelines to come and wreak havoc on like human existence.
Yeah.
That's why. So 10 Cloverfield Lane is a different
I completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
They
It
have
was
the
really
aliens
good.
in that, too.
And they did set up a what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? They set up a movie to kick. I can't fucking think of what I'm trying to say right
you
now.
mean a sequel
At the
to
end of Cloverfield Lane, they set it up for another movie to be made off that. I feel like, right? When
yeah, but they're not going to. I think
Okay.
that what that was referring to was her saying she always runs away from stuff, and then she goes head on into the finding of that. You know what? To be honest, it would have been better if they did that and then just kept it along that way and said that the monsters, it's the same timeline,
right?
And it was happening all over the country. To be honest, it would have been better if the first one and the second one were literally in the same time frame.
Okay,
but they're not.
Yeah,
they're literally at two different times, from what I understand, because that's what the explanation is in the third one, and the third one wasn't that great. But it was another existing movie where they just tapped on the company names, Easter eggs, like little clues that oh, this is why the other ones happened.
So is that a more realistic invasion?
Well, I'll tell you why. I'll fight why it is, because the more research I do into the UFO,
I can't really.
One of the theories they have about what people are seeing actual things, and the military is seeing them. So one of the theories is that they're not from a different planet, because that people think, oh, we're too far.
Yeah.
That they think it's interdimensional. So that literally is. It's not from a rip in the space time, but what they're saying is they're coming from a different dimension to travel here. So that's one of the theories, and it actually is scientifically possible. So that's realistic. And in all the years of UFOs, rarely, if at all, have they been hostile. It's always in like a.
Thank God.
It's right. Well, that's the thing. Like they
that little kid scared of that is just, I still have. A flying saucer is going to land and they're going to enslave us.
Yeah.
Like that. You
still have that.
I still have it.
In all the instances, that's never they've always observed and then or interacted with military
but observed
craft.
For what? That's
what you wonder. But it's been
because
60
that's
years.
the Independence Day aliens are hostile in the fact that we figured out that their plan is to essentially annihilate species and take all the natural resources for themselves.
Right.
So, which I don't know. I mean, you're definitely more of a scholar on UFOs than me.
Yeah.
Scholar / kook.
I got my nut job.
Yeah,
I got my PhD in reading internet articles.
It's so funny. Sean got divorced and took up UFOs like to an almost obsessive level.
It's crazy. So I think as far as like what more is scientifically explainable,
I guess I got to give you that because I don't know enough about it. But I mean, Independence Day doesn't get terribly creative with the way they incorporate the aliens. I will give you that. It's really the standard alien invasion is what we've seen. It's what works.
Yeah. It's pretty straight up.
It's nothing too clever.
Cloverfield's a much more involved explanation, and it actually is apparently scientifically possible.
Yeah, I think it works better for the mass appeal, obviously, which is why Independence Day is the blockbuster it is.
Yeah.
And which is why Cloverfield is the movie that it is.
Yeah, I think as far as remembrance goes and how they're viewed now, I would say Independence Day wins.
Yeah.
Because people still enjoy it.
And Independence Day, they do kind of have that cool thing where they can, they got to Dr. Vokun or whatever his name is, like they can telepathically kind of communicate through it. Like once they got hit, he could speak through the doctor to the president.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of cool because that to me gives that science fiction-y where you're like, oh shit, that would be how they would communicate.
Yeah.
They would have to fucking fuck up a guy and go through him.
Well, that's another thing that in my research that you find out is that there's people that claim that when they get contacted by aliens, which I don't believe in that.
Right.
But when they do, that they contact telepathically.
Yeah.
So, but that's just to me. I don't buy into that. But there you go. That's probably where they got the idea for the movie from.
Yeah.
So, but I will tell you this, and this kind of it puts a nail in my coffin. I think you win based on the fact that the more I think about it, Cloverfield. If you were my age that I was when I saw Independence Day, the people who saw Cloverfield, it's not as iconic. If you're what was I when? Well, I was 18 when Independence Day came out, but I still was I was psyched. So if you were 18 when Cloverfield came out, does it have as much as a classic status in your head.
I'll tell you this. I went and saw Cloverfield. I was visiting my little sister at college, and we saw it together. And she was, I think, 19 or 20 at the time.
Yeah.
And I don't think she could give a shit about Cloverfield.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you're right. I think overall, Independence Day is more fun. I think it did more for movies.
Is there?
I think that
how about we'll do the flip test.
Flip test?
Independence Day is a pretty close flip for me.
Oh, it's a flip for me.
As in you've changed the channel.
Oh no, meaning that I would flip back and watch it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I would.
It still has that.
Cloverfield.
It's like one of the last things I kind of Will Smith, or I kind of like Will Smith before he got kind of crazy. And
yeah, I would flip on Cloverfield
it's got
too.
Bill Pullman's great in it. Goldblum's good in it. It's got a good ensemble cast, and Cloverfield's got a decent cast, but it doesn't live. You know, I mean, these are A-listers.
Another point. That's another thing. But then but we knew that going in. But the Cloverfield is a flip back for me too. I would watch Cloverfield. But Independence Day is an easier flip for me.
Easier flip back. You're right, but I don't think like if something else, like if a Goodfellas or a Jaws was on and Cloverfield was on at the same time, I'd choose one of the others. It's Cloverfield. Forget about that. That's kind of. But it's close. Where I'd probably watch, but I don't know if I had to run out the door, I'd leave.
All right, I'm declaring Andy the winner of this one.
Good one, though. I like Cloverfield.
It's great.
And we run into this problem a lot where it's kind of hard to argue against a movie because we try and pair them up to get two similar stylistic movies. Not stylistic, genre, I guess. But we talk about this all the time where it's hard to argue sometimes against a movie where you're like, I don't want to talk shit about a movie I like.
Yeah,
but it's so it's hard to find.
And we're talking it out as we go. Like we didn't talk about that before. So like, I realized points of why I think Cloverfield's better. But also at the end of the day, I have more of an affinity for Independence Day in my head where I'm like, oh yeah.
I bet Cloverfield might win on the Rotten Tomatoes, maybe.
No,
you don't think it was more critically acclaimed than Independence Day?
No, I think Independence Day. I don't know. Can you look it up, Alex?
Look it up real quick.
Yeah. Let's end with that.
Because I can see how the style, like you said, like I said earlier, I feel like that movie it has to stand on the stylistic points. Independence Day, 64% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Independence Day?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That's why I'm saying.
Cloverfield might have won.
Cloverfield 77.
Wow. Yeah, I guess you're right then. Yeah. And I think it's
I think maybe a lot of that has to do with just the contrarian point of view of the blockbuster. It's like, it's whatever. But it's a fun movie. Right. It's a good. I get it. Like we almost did. We could do one of these for the future. Like I was gonna fight for Armageddon, which is critically panned. I think it's one of Roger Ebert's most hated movies of all time.
Because it has every trope ever.
Yeah, but it's a fine movie. I don't see anything wrong with it.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
And also
that's a flip test
for me, funny scenes in it. And
funny, great cast.
Yeah.
It's nothing groundbreaking as far as story.
It gets emotion out of you. Yeah. And you can make the case for it.
Aerosmith.
We could have done that as Blockbuster versus Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too.
Well, Andy, you win today.
Save it for a rainy day. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
What would you like to plug, my friend?
Let's see. This will come out next week. You can come see me at Mohegan Sun with Tom Papa. The weekend after that, I'll be headlining City Steam in Hartford, Connecticut. Come on out, New England. I'm in you all January and even the first weekend of February. I'll be headlining Fairfield Comedy Club. You can catch all my dates at andyfiore.com, and that's also my social media handle. So just hit me up on there and come say hi if you see me at a show.
Very nice. I am at Shawnee Time on Instagram and Twitter, and next week I will be at the Atlantic City Comedy Club in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I have more stuff online. I posted on my social media. That's at Shawnee Time. We are at Showbiz Studios. That's showbizstudios.com. You can go to their they have a YouTube page. They also have a iTunes page that has a list of all the different Showbiz Studios podcasts that are run by a bunch of our friends and that are super funny. So check those out. And thank you so much, Andy, and we will see you next week.
See you, bud.
Bye.